Salute everyone. The streets are buzzing. Hope everyone's doing well. How we feeling in this beautiful evening? Ready to talk some Knicks. Got plenty to talk about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about the East, my East power rankings. As of this moment, things can change. The East is in flux, but we'll talk about it. We'll grade the off-season move by move. I'll give you my assessment, give out the grade and the chat. We'll get everyone's thoughts. We'll also talk about the newest Knicks. We'll hear from the Colby Altman, the Cleveland GM who drafted Dylan Windler. We'll break down their games. We'll go through the overs and unders. Salute to the best chat in the biz. Hope everyone's feeling well, doing well. Let's get ready to chop this thing up. And of course, we will talk about the rotation, how it currently looks, how I think Tom Thibodeau is going to allocate the minutes. It's going to be, a hot topic. So basically this, kicks off the look ahead, the season preview coming up now. Looks like we're running it back. There will be probably some marginal moves, but we'll assess it as they come. But right now, I like the pickups the Knicks have made recently, and I look forward to talking about it more. There's some highlights on screen of Knight and what he's capable of. And like I said, we'll break down the games of Dylan Windler, hear from Colby Altman, who drafted him in 2019 as a 22-year-old sharpshooting wing as well. But salute to everyone out here. Andrew, Jarvis LaFleur, salute. How you feeling? Can't wait to talk about this with everyone tonight. Especially the off-season grades, the rotation minutes, and the East power rankings. I've gone through it. There's a lot happening in the East. It's been an eventful off-season. But I'm really feeling good about the Knicks' ability to get out strong this season. I think continuity, familiarity is going to be huge for us. We look around the league. When I was going through these East power rankings, a lot of it has to do with where teams are at right now. Like I said, they're the power rankings from July, as of July 27, because a lot of teams are in flux. There's a lot of teams waiting on moves, trades, dominoes to fall, as the entire NBA is, including the New York Knicks. Philly is the big one, the heavyweight out east. Where have I got Philly? Are they bound to fall a little bit? The Miami Heat, everything's attached to what happens with Dame. But we do know some things right now. They've lost some depth. Both Philly and Miami have lost depth. Miami, starting with them, they've lost Gabe Vincent, Max Strauss. Looks like they'll lose Tyler Hero, obviously, to bring in Dame, and God knows what else. They might lose Caleb Martin, but we wait to see. Philly, they've lost Georges Niang, Shake Milton, James Harden. Does he come into camp and try to dog it? We wait to see. That's huge. Joel Embiid's motivation, injury concerns, all of those things are factored in to my Eastern Conference power rankings. The New York Knicks running it back, making some solid additions on the margins. The mid-level exception, big addition of Dante DiVincenzo. Got the rotation, the roster up on screen right now. This is based on what I think Tom Thibodeau is going to go with roughly. If it's a 9-man rotation, this is just my first guesstimate as to what a Knicks 9-man rotation will look like. I want to get your thoughts on it, listen to everyone and hear what you have to say with it. Little undersized, as we know, but with the additions of Knight, if Isaiah Roby gets his roster spot, maybe the New York Knicks also make a veteran addition, Taj Gibson, Gorgie Jeng, JaMychal Green, Derek Jones. I'm sure they'll probably look at, bringing in one more big man veteran. And I think we're set. I think we got all we need. to fill that backup 4 minutes. There's not a lot of minutes to go around. And while I was doing this made me realize just how much of a crunch this situation's going to be for minutes, for roster spot, and who's going to close games, whose skill set is going to be utilized to close games out. We got more versatile. I've wanted the Knicks to play small ball for a while now, for a minute. So, I didn't really, talk about too many concerns about the backup 4 situation. Yeah, you need to fix it. You need to sort it out at some point, ideally before the season begins. But like I said, I've wanted the Knicks to go small for a minute. The bench units should play fast. They need to get up and down. Our starting 5 is such a grind in terms of we're the heaviest isolation team. Jalen, Brunson, Julius Randle love to pound the rock, get to work, slow down the offense a little. So why not let the bench play small, get up and down? More minutes for RJ Barrett, more minutes for Josh Hart. His rebounding prowess can push the break, get some easy buckets. We'll talk about Obi Toppin, obviously, in the off-season grades tonight when I go through it. We are going to miss a lot of what Obi brings in terms of fast break points, transition, leak outs. But in terms of wins and losses, scoring, I don't think we're going to miss Obi with the additions we've brought in. It's no disrespect to him at all. We are going to miss elements of Obi's game, 100%. And I've given a very scathing grade to the Obi Toppin trade move as well, and how the Knicks face that situation. So we'll get into it. But yeah, the rotation, man. The more I'm looking at it, the Knicks are going to get off to a really good start. I feel there's familiarity with the current group returning. There's chemistry with Dante DiVincenzo, also, having obviously played with the Nova gang. Emmanuel Quickley is going to be heavily motivated. If he's not extended, he'll be even more motivated. But I think he will get that extension prior to the season commencement in October sometime, fam. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the Knicks get off to a great start. Of course, the big man rotation with Mitch and Hartenstein. I love the way those guys share the minutes. So I've gone 28 minutes with Mitch, 20 minutes Hart. We know how solid Hart can be stepping in if there's an injury, foul trouble. His skill set, I hope gets utilized more. One concern I've got with the big men, obviously, the shooting. I would love us to still look into a stretch 5 at some point before before I'm done. I want the Knicks to get a stretch 5 and see us play 5 out. But nonetheless, Hartenstein's quite versatile, passing, setting screens, rolling to the bucket. A great team player, one of the best backup big men in the league. Looking for another huge season for Mitch as well. As people come through the chat, salute everyone out here. Salute, salute. The streets are buzzing, and can't wait to break this down, talk about it more tonight. Basically this kick-starts the season look ahead now. We're getting into the season preview. Free agency's dying down now as teams start to come into the gym. Players start to prepare for their summer workouts and FIBA. And the rosters start to sort of get more settled. Now with Julius Randle, I've talked about wanting his minutes to come down a little bit. I think 35 minutes is sweet for Juju. No need to play any more than 35. We know how critical it is for Julius to be healthy later in the season, right? There's no point, going hell for leather just to get a particular seeding if you're hurt by the playoffs and then all goes by the wayside. So I think it's going to be load management to a degree. Minutes management is going to be key for Tibbs. I'm looking to see how Tibbs, faces this situation. Through the thick of the season, 9-man rotation looks like I would think Tibbs would favour that. But me personally, I would love to throw a 10th man in there, Deuce McBride, if it's Jericho Sims, uh, just throw a 10th man in there just to try to ease these minutes a little bit more. But obviously, getting off to a hot start is critical, fam. What's good, Sharp Powers? Salute. Um, we should be hoping we can move on from the Evan move maybe to the Spurs. Yep. Yeah, that's a move that we'll talk about when I give my off-season grades because I feel like that's another move that's going to come. I think that penny's going to drop before the season begins, fam. Nix One says, I feel good about our club despite the whack Obi trade. Yeah, I agree. We'll grade the trade. I've given my grade on just the transaction, but in terms of the effects that the Knicks will feel, I think he'll be a better fit in Indiana. I don't think we'll miss Obi in terms of wins and losses so much, but areas on the court we will miss his ability to run the break, stretch the floor a little as well. But the big unknown is Roby, Nate Knight as well. With some highlights running on screen there. Jay Boogie, salute, posted this, the 2022-23 season highlights for the two-way signing, Nate Knight. Indiana fans really, Minnesota fans really talked highly of Nate, a guy who's produced when he's given minutes. We know how congested the big man situation is in Mini in terms of, Cat, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert. They were happy to see Nate Knight land in a position where a team needs him, needs his skill set, and they could see him making an impact with the New York Knicks. So that was great to hear Minnesota fans sort of speak on that. And we'll talk about his game more, like I said, with Dylan Windler. But yeah, Julius Randle, 35 minutes. I think we'll still sign probably a veteran at some point, which is why we've got the 14 roster spots at the moment. We've still got the 15th roster spot open. I think that's a solid move. Keep one spot open for now. And like I said in the last show, we'll wait to see other teams cut their roster down, and maybe the New York Knicks can pounce on another possibly experienced, ready-made dude. Yeah, we wait to see what Evan can get us in terms of. We don't want to lose anything. We can only trade Evan to gain something. Now, if the other team wants us to attach a pick for Evan, then no way. That would be horrible. And I think the New York Knicks would have to just sit Evan aside, just keep him out. If it's a distraction, just do what we did with Kemba Walker. Louisiana Knicks, salute. What's good? Will and Kerry, what's good? Mike, Jarvis. Yeah, really looking forward to this season coming up with these expectations now. But we've had little upheaval in terms of the roster for the first time in a long time. If you think about it, we were coming in with a lot of changes the last few seasons and before then. This time we're obviously waiting on, the bigger move to get us to that next level, which I've talked about the last show. I feel like we're going to come into the season. We're going to see how things play out in the East. Maybe we improve by other teams getting worse. It's not always the Knicks have to improve to move up. Sometimes consistency is big. The Knicks coming into this season with consistency. Maybe Philly, maybe Miami, maybe some of these teams lose consistency as well. So we'll break it down in my East Power rankings. With my minutes with RJ Barrett, purely because you got Josh Hart, you got Dante DiVincenzo. Barrett averaged 33 minutes this past season. To make things fit on this picture, I've got RJ Barrett's minutes down to 30. I think there's going to be some games he might not close as much, or he might play less in the fourth quarter. This is just a complete guesstimate. that speaks to the minutes crunch. It doesn't speak to RJ at all. It just speaks to the minutes crunch because Dante DiVincenzo averaged 26 minutes with the Golden State Warriors. Now he's only got 20 minutes. So he's coming here to make an impact. But Dante DiVincenzo, based on this calculation, I'm expecting him to have a reduction in minutes because we've got more bench depth than I think. We'll be less reliant on him than the Golden State Warriors were. Of course, Josh Hart, you have to fit in here his 24 minutes, and that's being modest. Maybe Tibbs finds a way to jack that up some more. I don't see where he can. You got Julius playing 35. I don't see where Hart's minutes can get it up anymore unless you take minutes from Grimes or you take minutes from RJ. And that's even with him sharing some backup for as well. So that talks about how tight things are at the minute. Another man who might lose some minutes a little bit is Quentin Grimes, down to 28 in this calculation. Grimes averaged about 29, 30, I think, this past season, with DiVincenzo closing. The reason I've squeezed a little out of that is because I would love extra floor spacing, having DiVincenzo out there to close some games as well. Have 4 shooters on the floor. That's not a look that the Knicks have had the luxury of having for a minute. So if you have a lineup, let's say a closing lineup of Brunson, Quickly, DiVincenzo, and Randall, you got legit 4 floor spaces next to a Mitchell Robinson, your defensive anchor as well. So that's critical. But it was really the biggest shocking thing doing this was seeing DiVincenzo's minutes, how much of a reduction he's going to see from his Golden State days, and Emmanuel Quickly at 20 minutes. We'll see. That could be gearing up to be less reliant on Emmanuel Quickly. I think if Quickly's playing 25 minutes, we could see the benefits of that. But then we also will feel the loss if we do end up trading him. So I could see DiVincenzo being a longer term replacement on this team. And I think DiVincenzo might be a guy who gets kind of prioritized a little more as we gear up for the deadline and possibly see if Quickly is in a package. Of course, the man, Jalen Brunson, 35 minutes. Great number. I think he doesn't need to play any more than that with Emmanuel Quickly here, with Hart, DiVincenzo, Barrett, Grimes. We talked about our glut at the guard spot. If the game is going well, the Knicks are kind of playing well in control. I don't think we need to be mindful of giving Brunson a spell. He's our closer. You guys know how important Jalen Brunson is to help us close games out. So 35 minutes, I think, is good. Round about what he averaged this season, as well as Julius, as well. Obviously, you got the situationals. The first guy will probably Deuce McBride and Jericho Sims. Roby's spot, Jeffries, and Evan Fournier's spot is completely up in the air at the moment. It's way too early to determine what's going to happen. So this is just a 9-man rotation allocation. You guys speaking on Doug McDermott as well. If he comes in for Evan's spot, could see a world where he's still situational, or maybe they find a way to squeeze him in a little bit for like 6 minutes a night, 9 minutes a night, kind of thing. I like Doug's length, his shooting. He's a great role player, a team guy. Shoots the ball well off the movement. It'll be a solid 1-for-1 swap. I think if we could make the best out of that tough situation with Evan, and we bring in a Doug McDermott. He's been a Knick before. I've heard from his father and him. He loved his time in New York. They were really happy when Doug became a Knick as well. They loved the spotlight, the stage, MSG. So look for that move. That could be the only move that makes sense for the Knicks at this current moment. The San Antonio Spurs, there's been reports they have some interest in an Evan Fournier with the ability to, have him buddy up with Vic and be a mentor and also be that veteran shooter for that. And also, FIBA coming up. Um, Doug McDermott, his time with the New York Knicks fam, the chemistry with Kyle O'Quinn, backdoor plays, backdoor cuts. Yeah, the Doug McDermott acquisition was with the Oklahoma Thunder. He was in the Carmelo Anthony trade. It was Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and the 36th pick, which became Mitchell Robinson. With that, I think it was either that or it was the Porzingis trade. Porzingis trade was with Dallas, so we didn't. We got McBuckets in the Oklahoma City trade for Melo. That was the trade, fam. But nonetheless, I think Doug McDermott would welcome a MSG return back to the East Coast. We wait to see with Fournier. There's talk. There's been some reporters say some teams could still have interest in Fournier, so that's promising, to hear. I don't think we're going to find it too difficult to find somebody. It's an expiring salary. We sure as hell shouldn't give up anything for Evan at all. With that said, I like our two additions. Now let's dive in to the rankings. Then we continue to have this conversation. Salute to Replay Gang. Salute to the chat. Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Smashing that like button. Before we get into the grades, let's get into the East Power Rankings. My East rankings as of this moment. July 27. We sit here. There's a lot of things in flux at the moment. But this is how I got the East shaking out. There's a few people slide and a few teams climb. The New York Knicks, I think as of this moment, I think a lot is in flux with Philly. A lot is in flux with Miami. I could have Miami jump up if the Damian Lillard trade comes to fruition. Given the fact that the Heat were able to defeat the Knicks, I would elevate the Heat in the third spot ahead of the New York Knicks. But as of this point in time, I'm rocking with the Knicks consistency. The Dante DiVincenzo move was significant. I think a lot of people have underplayed it. He's going to show his worth, his value. The Knicks' number one weakness this season was shooting and spacing. We got some of the best bullies getting to the bucket. Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle. DiVincenzo coming in here is just another guy who can be versatile, but can shoot from deep, pull the gravity, get the defense working, moving around, all of those things. I think it's kind of it's a subtle addition, a subtle upgrade at the moment. And like I said, I think a lot is in flux in the Eastern Conference right at this moment. So coming in at number one, theoretically, a healthy Chris Middleton, a healthy Giannis, and a healthy Drew Holiday. They're not as strong as their championship year, but I would have the Milwaukee Bucks still coming in at number one. I'm not ready to put the Boston Celtics yet ahead of them. Middleton's my X factor, and I'm expecting a lot of urgency from Giannis this year. A lot's been talked about their failed. Was it a failure? The video went viral with Giannis, talking about his passion and winning a chip and then having to come to grips with being knocked out of the first round is crazy. I do think there's concerns with Drew Holiday. I think he's aging a little, but bigger concerns with Chris Middleton. For the sake of pleasing Giannis, if they get off to a slow start, Do they end up entertaining flipping Middleton? That remains to be seen. So that's a huge X factor on that. Salute Glenn, appreciate you coming through. What's good? Best of worst, Dirty Dancer. Yeah, but that's not a. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks fall a few spots. It's not. That's not a lock at the moment. But my respect for the Bucks got them in number one at this point. I think on his day, at his best, Giannis Antetokounmpo is still the most dominant force in the league. Surround him with shooters, and they're the team to beat. Still, I think. Now, a team that's done a lot of movement. Recently, yesterday, the penny drop. Boy, did the penny drop for Jalen Brown. Congrats, salute to you, fam, getting the bag, backing up that truck, shaking up the landscape of the NBA. 300 milli coming his way, and that's crazy. That's a preview of what we're going to start seeing with the next mob coming through with Julius Randle, with the extension of Spider Mitchell, and Jalen Brunson eventually. But the Boston Celtics did the right thing. I feel they need him. They go backwards if they can't find a good trade. So, you just got to eat it, and you got to pay the man, and they come back. Porzingis' health, great addition on paper. On paper, we've seen a lot of great additions. Does it really work out? Remains to be seen. But theoretically, KP's floor spacing, ability to put the ball on the floor and defend the rim like one of the best big men in terms of his wingspan is going to be huge for the Boston Celtics defense. Robert Williams ain't always healthy. They lost Grant Williams. Brogdon's health is up and down. And of course, they lost their heart and soul, Marcus Smart. With that said, so I think point guard play is a concern. And I think, they could easily have taken a step back, or if all things gel with Porzingis, they'll be thereabouts in number 2. What are you guys seeing with this so far? Let's hear your thoughts. Yeah, best of worst agrees with the Bucks, with my decision. As of this moment, Giannis is healthy. If he's healthy, they're the team to beat. Yeah, 100%. But it's close. Yeah, a lot of this can be, like power rankings. This is the version July 27, and still some things to come. But as of this moment, on paper, I think they're the 2 top teams. Now, our beloved New York Knicks. Right, let's get to it. A lot of talk's been made. We haven't really done anything. We it's been an underwhelming offseason. Very modest moves. What's going on? What's the next thing? Sometimes the best move is no move at all, but we did actually make a move, and it's a move that did improve the team in terms of the shooting. He's undersized, definitely. We need a lengthier wing, but we went through the rotation minutes. We'll talk about it more. But Dante DiVincenzo's ability to close games out, defend well, take on another defensive assignment, and shoot is going to help. And this is just a straight addition. Yeah, we lost Obi Toppin's production, but we welcome DiVincenzo's production in as well, together with a Josh Hart for an entire season, factoring in Jalen Brunson's second year, RJ Barrett consistency and growth with Quentin Grimes as well. The Knicks got better. I still think the Knicks got better. Last year was ups and downs with some crazy losses, a slow start. One might forget Tom Thibodeau was on the verge of getting fired. That's how crazy last season was. But this season, I think everyone comes in, will know their role, will buy in. I think that's what Tom Thibodeau likes about the 9-man rotation. There's no confusion. Everyone knows what they've got to do. We've improved with shooting. The powered forward spot, like you could make the case to me about losing Obi there, and really maybe I'm underplaying that more, and we might feel some effects of that. It remains to be seen. But I think Josh Hart is the plan, to play some with RJ Barrett, some backup for guys that Tom Thibodeau knows he can depend upon. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about young players, and to that degree, he cares about guys that he knows can produce. Um, uh, as a coach, knows what the player is going to give me. I know what I'm going to get from you every night, and I don't have to. I don't have to go to sleep at night and scratch my head trying to think about what I can do. So yeah, some people might be surprised, some people might not be, but I think the Knicks improved, and I think some teams got worse. Uh, but I said the Miami Heat, moving on to them, Dame time. Uh, they've lost Max Strauss, they've lost Gabe Vincent, they might lose Kayla Martin, Tyler Hero, and they might welcome in Dame time, and they might obviously sign a couple veteran mercenaries, to top up their roster. Uh, so yeah, we know the Heat's MO. Get through the regular season and be a stud in the playoffs. Coach Spoelstra, Jimmy Buckets, turns it up a notch. Bam Adebayo. I think they're an older team, especially if Dame gets in there. They're going to be crazy old. They're going to be trying to nurse their way through the regular season. So I could still see the Knicks pipping the Heat throughout the regular season at this point. Postseason's a different animal. But yeah, the Heat's aim should be to get through the regular season healthy, um, and then do their damage with that. Uh, Coming in at number 5, the Philadelphia 76ers have lost depth too. Shake Milton, Georges Niang. They've got a lot of soul searching to do at this point in time with James Harden talking about tweeting stuff, ready to got to get comfortable to get uncomfortable. Um, a guy like Daryl Morey out there who's willing to just play chicken and let this thing drag on. Hey, be my guest, fam. The more you do that, the more Joel Embiid starts to hear echoes of New York Knicks whispering in his ear. Uh, the more we start to hear that noise of people around the league recruiting, right? Team USA, Brunson and Hart start balling out there. Um, second guessing what's going on, man. Like, I'm the guy, I'm the MVP in Philly. You're gonna do this to me? Um, that's interesting. So they better sort this James Harden thing out ASAP. And that's what the Knicks have going for them: consistency. We know what we got, we know what we're coming in with, and we're ready from day dot this coming season, from training camp through to preseason. The New York Knicks are basically bringing in a better rotation than we had in the playoffs with a couple extra pieces, and hopefully get off to a faster start. Now the Philly 76ers have the injury concerns to look out for as well. Joel as well, how much can he carry on those knees? Um, so would I be shocked if Philly slide? Absolutely not. They're coming in at 5 at the moment with too much in flux at the moment. But the thing going for them is Tyrese Maxey. Mad respect for Tyrese Maxey, set to have a great year. I think he pops. I think that's his team in the future. He's going to take over that situation. So they've got one nice building block to keep is Tyrese Maxey. We wait to see. Cleveland, Ohio. Roster consistency. I think they're a team that sneakily either improved slightly or stayed the same. I think Cleveland brought in some wing help. They got, I think they brought in a Georges Niang, and they brought in the Max Strauss from the Miami Heat. So two quality role players with shooting and experience. I think that's exactly what Cleveland missed in the playoffs. I think they slightly improved. Maybe the gelling, the chemistry with Spider and with Garland improves. Maybe Evan Mobley takes a great leap in this season coming up. So I think they've got more of a chance to climb due to their consistency, um, adding some wing depth as well. Uh, Coming in at 7, the Pacers, internal growth. Now they're definitely ready to take a step. Tyrese Halliburton, Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, got veterans in Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, a veteran coach, Carlisle. All the talk is that Indiana are ready to try to win now. They're not a team that even likes to rebuild. So I think they're ready to put their foot on the gas. Let's see. Tyrese, Obi out there doing summer runs now. And it's interesting to watch. You know, it's hurtful as a New York Knicks fan, as we'll talk about the Obi Toppin grade trade coming up. But yeah, Indiana have got a great young core coming up, and it's a fun time for Indiana. Now let's see if they can get that playoff spot, play-in spot. Atlanta, uh, pretty underwhelmed by Atlanta. I don't really know what they're doing. Not following it too closely, but obviously they brought in a great coach, Quinn Snyder. Does he help unlock Trae Young some more? I don't know. Get him more motivated, playing team ball. That that could be something going for ATL. Um, the draft picks, the younger guys coming up, but I do think there's some depth concerns. We're trying to compete with the big boys in the East. They obviously lost John Collins. You know, they bungled that trade. They're dangling DeAndre Hunter. They're trying to get Pascal. There's just too much in flux. They got DeJounte Murray still. Um, I just see a world where Trae Young ends up leaving that situation. Which yeah, I don't think they're on the Knicks level, and that reflects on that. I think obviously Trae Young's a star, but he's not a guy that's shown to be able to really take the team further. Obviously, he needs help. He needs a lot of defensive help um, with that. So yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with seeing some struggles with the ATL, but they got themselves a great coach. I think they did the right thing with that situation. Now Zach LaVine, number 9. I debated this a lot. Obviously, you don't even see the Toronto Raptors in here. I could easily see a world where the Toronto Raptors are in 9th, 8th. Right, this is not a slight. This is just the fact that I don't think they're as good at the moment. As of July 27, things can change, but they're lost. I think they're really going to feel the effects of Fred VanVleet's departure, bringing in Schroeder. He's no replacement. Um, what else have they done? They've kept the center Pirtle, which is solid. They needed to keep that, but there's too much going on. There's too much uncertainty. Guys in trade rumors, etc. So I've got the Chicago Bulls with LaVine, Vucevic, DeRozan. That could be a formidable trio still. Number 9, but look out for the LaVine trade watch at the deadline. I think it's going to come to a point where things have to sink in for Chicago. If they start slow, it doesn't look like they're really moving anywhere, and they're struggling to be in that playoff situation. That could be the catalyst to a Zach LaVine trade. So that's something to watch. And of course, point guard play is a huge concern for Chicago. Prayers up to Lonzo Ball and wish him well on his recovery, and hope he can get back in the NBA and play. But he's out for the entire season. Um, they've got Desunmu. They've got some other guys coming through, but I think point guard play got to be a concern. I would give Zach LaVine all the reps and some. You got to give the ball to Zach LaVine in that situation. Um, so yeah, I think Chicago, more of the same. We're not going to see too much. Coming in at number 10, I think they might steal. This might be the year they can steal the play-in spot. Is the young core of Orlando Magic coming up? A team to watch for the future coming up. Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. The guards they've got with Cole Anthony, Suggs, Fultz coming up as well. I think the young core is going to grow a bit. Paolo's that next star in the league, and I think they might have a fast finish coming through. So yeah, I do think as of this moment, this is how I see the East playing out in terms of power rankings. Things are in flux a little, but I don't see the Knicks moving too much. If anything, if we pull in a bigger trade, we might obviously take a step up some. But we made the final four of the East. We made the Elite Eight in the league. I think if we were healthy, we beat Miami. I think we beat Miami Heat in a replay if we were healthy. They've lost Strauss, lost Vincent, might lose Martin and Hero, and they might bring in Dame time. So I think, yeah, they'll be a tough regular season team, but I think that they're going to be built for the playoffs. And I think the Knicks go hell for leather in the regular season with the Tibbs minutes police going to be out there in full effect. Yeah, obviously, yeah, got to speak on Brooklyn. The Brooklyn disrespect. I think it's just a crunch at this stage. I really do. I think I could see them, sneaking in at the lower end, but as of this moment, yeah, I think Orlando, I think Indiana's young core at this point in time. We've obviously got the Raptors, the Hornets, the Wizards, Detroit as well, round out the East at the moment. We'll salute Orlando, super intriguing on paper, but OKC of the East. Yep. Yep, definitely. Yeah, Colby White, Ayo Dosunmu. Yeah, the Knicks, like I said, made the final four of the East, Elite Eight, and we got better. So I think, yeah, fans are frustrated because they were expecting us to make a larger move, which can get us into contention. That doesn't mean that we've gotten any worse as well. I think other teams could be getting worse. I think experience, chemistry, all of those things. Let's go through it. Let's think about a situation where a Chris Middleton is unhealthy again. Knock on wood. I don't wish that on anybody, but it's a real possibility. What is a fact is that Josh Hart comes into the season with the New York Knicks. So that's an addition by itself. The Knicks were one of the best teams in the NBA when Josh Hart came aboard as well. Deuce McBride's another year older. He knows his role on the team. Get in there, defend, get pesky. Dante DiVincenzo comes in off a winning pedigree, a winning program, won championships in college, is playing with some of his best friends. I think the motivation level, the consistency is going to tell. And I think people are underestimating the Knicks a little bit. But hey, this is us. We've seen the team play every week, every day. These other people don't as well. But obviously, I've prefaced the Miami situation. If Damian Lillard becomes a Miami Heat, it's apples and apples. I think they're old. They've got a little less depth, but they've got more star power than the New York Knicks. So that's my East outlook at this point. We'll continue to talk about it. Now, let's get into my off-season grading, move by move so far as well. As of July 27, with the asterisks down below, we obviously will expect to see a Josh Hart extension, Emmanuel Quickly extension, and the Fournier trade to be determined, which could change my off-season grade. But at this point in time, the Dante DiVincenzo move to get him for the mid-level exception and welcome him in with the shooting and the ability to add to our bench depth. We know in the playoffs that was a big weakness. I think we addressed that. Um, Now defensively, he's not a stopper, a wing stopper like an OG Anunoby, but he's really going to help us. I think for what we had with $12 million to work with, uh, I, a case could be made. He was the best player we could have got for $12 million. You could. I'm welcome to hear any suggestions from anyone. In terms of, is there a better player we could have got for $12 million? I would love to hear what kind of player that was. But I think the Knicks absolutely hit a bullseye. They executed with that situation. I'm giving it an A minus just because of the size concern. He's obviously 6'4", but I'm grading it on what it took to get him, which was cap space, mid-level exception. We executed. He obviously had other suitors. Other contenders were looking at him as well. He had money on the table, and I think he took less to come to the New York Knicks. So that was a solid move, huge move, A minus. With the brackets getting Josh Hart to opt in, obviously facilitated that move. That allowed that to happen. Getting Josh Hart to opt in was big, so that we could get his buddy in here with an A minus. Perfect for the culture. Yep, like Dirty says. Insurance policy, all of that. 4 years signing, solid number. The cap's going up. Yeah. Best player available that we could have got, basically, in terms of also what the team needed. Will. Yeah, a dude who could fit in with Tibbs. There's not going to be no Tibbs putting him in the doghouse, anything like that. He's not a liability defensively, such as Fournier. So salute. Yep, and I think we'll start, just like the Jalen Brunson signing. Remember, we signed Jalen Brunson, and then there was all that bomb about Donovan Mitchell last offseason, and everyone was talking about that for a few months, and it kind of got swept under the rug, the impact of a Jalen Brunson. That's deja vu with Dante DiVincenzo. We did the Dante DiVincenzo thing first. Everyone was like, okay, let's do this blockbuster move. What are we doing? But we kind of swept that under the rug a little. I feel like it's got to the point where it's a bit underrated in terms of the signing for the money. I'm saying, obviously, if you had $30 million to spend, it's underwhelming. You have $30 million, you want a star, but I'm grading it based on what the Knicks spent to get Dante in here, $12 million mid-level. Now we rewind to draft night on the second move. I was looking for the Knicks to hopefully pick up a draft pick, possibly pull off an Obi Toppin trade on that night, get into the draft. I don't know, get a better deal, get something out of our former 8th overall pick that I felt has much more value. I just don't feel like his value was able to be showcased around the league enough. With Obi Toppin, there was some inconsistencies with the shooting, 100%. He's kind of a player that needs more minutes to showcase what he can do. But I really feel like the league knows what Obi Toppin can be, and I just think they knew the Knicks were in a difficult situation, and we backed ourselves into that corner, as we've talked about for so long now. The Knicks waited too long. It was just an element of bad luck with the circumstances of Julius Randle becoming so good so quick, and then the draft pick of Obi Toppin just not making sense in terms of the roster fit with Julius. Without Julius, it would have been a whole nother story. With another coach, it may have been a whole nother story. With maybe being more versatile, playing Obi at the 5, at the 3, all of those things. So from beginning to end, it was a complete failure for me. I'm not grading Obi Toppin a failure in terms of what his commitment, his output. The transaction, the Obi Toppin transaction move, F for me. is a failure on that situation. 2 second-round picks that are not even worth even talking about. And I'm not even going to mention them anymore in the 2028 and 2030. And they're like top 55 protected or something, one of them is. It's ridiculous, basically, how low they got Obi Toppin for as well. We're seeing highlights of him, running out in the pro-ams with Tyrese. That's just a beginning of what's to come in terms of if he starts to look real nice, he has a great year in Indy. The conversation's not going to go away. The Obi Toppin transaction was an F. I mean, we didn't really need to make the move immediately. We still had one more year to run. So indications to me point to we did Obi Toppin the favor. Maybe if it was just Leon and he could be selfish, he probably would have decided to keep Obi, because 2 second-round picks it's basically worthless. It's pointless even doing the move without trying to help Obi. I think so. I think CAA, we did Obi a favor. He's coming in, obviously Sam Rose, he's his agent. Sam Rose wants to get paid, wants Obi to get paid. So I think a little bit of urgency got us 2 second-round picks, and it was an F. And together with the draft night move, for me, and we may not live it down at this point. But like I said earlier, the transaction was a failure for what we got. But wins and losses, we may not see any difference in terms of that. We will miss some Obi Toppin plays, what he brings in terms of fast break points, finishes, excitement, good locker room guy. But I think, maybe the frustrations with Thibodeau, I've got to mention that. That was another thing worth noting. People think the conversation around Evan Fournier and Tibbs is just based on Evan Fournier's situation. It's based on a lot of things relating to the Tom Thibodeau situation. Obi Toppin, of course, had his go at Tibbs, and snapped a little. So, there could have been a little bit of a fractured relationship between those two. But happy for Obi to move on, get an opportunity. He feels like he's got a breath of fresh air in him in a young team. He's got to battle minutes though with Jarace Walker, etc. So let's see what happens with Obi. We obviously we'll talk about Nathan Knight, what he brings to in the rest of the show. But the most recent moves, Jalen Martin, the Jacob Toppin undrafted signings seem to be good on the surface. I really liked seeing Jalen Martin in summer league. I thought there was really some impressive things he showed us. His ability to get to the rim, his size, his wingspan, his bounce, the shooting looks like it has ways to go. But for a 19-year-old undrafted guy, I think the Knicks did solid for that. And Jacob Toppin's that wild card. He could be something really exciting as well for the two-way for Westchester, possibly in the future as well. Obviously, Jacob Toppin's not on a two-way. I stand corrected. He's only on the camp invite. But yeah, it's something that we're giving him that chance. But the recent signings, Dylan Windler, Nate Knight, and cutting Trevor Keels, I think was the right move. We're bringing in two ready-made guys that have a skill set that this team needs with NBA experience, been in the league, will break down their games. But I really like what the Knicks have done with these marginal moves, and I've given them a B with all of that. It might end up being higher, but I think, given these moves on the margins and some talent were brought in for basically nothing, to round out the roster, I think it's been solid. I really think in hearing from Minnesota people about Nathan Knight, his ability to play minutes ready straight away, it could really help us. Dylan Windler as well is 26 years old, elite shooter, a sharpshooter as well. His concern is the health. So overall, with the possible moves of IQ, Hart extension, and a Fournier trade, that could change this overall grade. But the off season of the New York Knicks, I've got as a B minus at the moment. Yeah, it could be interpreted many ways. A B minus can be like, yeah, it's basically just a meh. Below, maybe slightly below, slightly better than a meh. It could be a B minus. That's where I got it at this point. A Fournier trade to help us get a solid rotation player, maybe another backup signing. I could talk myself into a B. But yeah, overall, really like the DiVincenzo move. The recent moves, the moves on the margins with Windler and Knight cutting keels, Jalen Martin's potential in the future as well. Let's see what the Josh Hart extension looks like. Emmanuel Quickly too, and a possible Fournier trade. Salute, what's good? Geraldine, salute. Obi had words with Tibbs, and they traded him because of Tibbs. One of the reasons, definitely, I feel. He wasn't getting the launch pad, the runway. Tibbs wasn't versatile enough. I really feel like Leon was still committed to Obi, given he drafted him, and I feel like if we had a coach who was willing to play Obi a little, different ways, I think Obi could have stayed. Which is why I've given that thing an F. It just makes no sense getting 2 second-round picks. I think it was simply to get out of that possible headache and with the Tibbs situation and to help Obi. Will says, yeah, best to Obi, but he's also got an uphill battle in Indiana, but more if an opportunity to earn time and starting role. Yeah, the contract situation's coming up. So we left it a year too late, I feel. Most disappointing thing is, remember, I think it was the season we missed the playoffs. We were playing him heavy minutes towards the end of the season, and he was putting up 30 points. He had a 40-point night. The year we were out of the playoffs, that could have been that time to trade him, and just maybe a GM would have given us a protected first based on his, potential or something. But no, we decided to hold on to him. What's good? Hewlett, peace, travel vibes, salute. We all buzzing right now. Yeah, Nathan Knight, I really like that signing. Overall, I think he's coming in. He's going to do some big things for us. We will continue this conversation as well. Anyone coming through, salute replay gang. But yeah, Nathan Knight, some highlights on screen. We'll talk about now, his game a bit more with the Dylan Windler situation and the rotation coming up. I'm going to play a video on Colby Altman, the GM, either current GM or former GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's going to talk to us a bit about why he selected Dylan Windler. What does Windler bring to the table?
Dylan is, if you had to check a bunch of boxes that fit Coach Beilein's system, he fits them all. But he's tall and he also rebounds. He can make plays off the bounce. He's a lefty, so it sort of gives you an unorthodox look. And he truly succeeds with great shooters. And so when we're sitting at 26, like, who's the best shooter in the draft? He rebounds it incredibly well. There was a game I was at that he had 20 rebounds. And he's ambidextrous. I don't know if you saw the golf swings that he can. He's like a scratch golfer too. So he's multi-dimensional, multi-talented. But he's not just a shooter, to your point. And so I think for us and moving forward, everything we're looking for, dribble, drive, pass, and shoot. You dribble, drive, pass, and shoot, and then you fit into, and add basketball IQ to that, you fit into coach's system. So that's what we're sort of looking and identifying. He's tall, intellectual, he's good. He also came in to visit, and so we got to see a lot of different things from him. Coach got to sit down with him and watch film with him. Really, really fortunate that Coach Beeline's been a part of our draft process. Been at every single workout. He loves it. He said this is so much better than making recruiting phone calls because you actually get to make the pick. So again, like having him drive this home for us and give us a lens, and it's great when I can look over and say, what do you think of him? He'd be great. And so we know Coach Beeline believes in these kids. Makes it a lot easier decision.
I appreciate you. Like I was saying, with the Dylan Windler pickup, it was great to hear Kobe talk about what he saw in him. He was 22 years old coming out of college, drafted with the 26th pick, and he was already experienced, like coming out, being 22. Now he's 26. He's another lefty, but he can dribble, drive, and pass. Dribble, drive, and pass, like he said. He's got a 6'11" wingspan, and is an incredible rebounder coming in. He averaged 11 rebounds in college. I'll say that again. He averaged 11 rebounds in college, so that's a plus on his scouting report. And there was one game he had 20 rebounds as well, like Kobe said. Unselfish on his scouting report as well. So we finally got a dude that's coming in that's an actual sharpshooter coming in, which is great. And that's big. Not sure if you guys heard it. I know I was muted before, but let me know if you heard the soundbite from Altman coming in. Yeah, but I basically just summarized it. Um, and yeah, I really like his skill set coming in. The rebounding's big. We know Obi wasn't the greatest rebounder. We finally got a guy who's 6'7", 6'8", who can move, can pass, and also shoot. So that's why I've given those moves a B. These two recent moves. The thing we just got to hope for is the health. And I think this rotation's loaded on screen. Like in terms of if Windler and Knight can give us spot minutes in the league. With Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, we really do. Whether we get a backup for veteran or not, I think we're fine to start the season. We see. We'll wait to see if other teams cut anybody of really good level, and then we'll assess it from there. So 6'11" wingspan, all of that is really solid. Now bring up the Nathan Knight highlights as we have on screen. Jay Boogie tweeted this out as well. Shout out to my guy Jay Boog. got the streets buzzing on the pro-am circuits out there. Was at the basketball tournament. But yeah, this guy is super intriguing, uh, more valuable, I feel, and more ready-made based on production in the league, based on when he comes in, he makes that impression. Minnesota fans were happy to see him get this opportunity now because they know with their congestion with Cat, Rudy, Naz Reid, I mean, I don't know how many centers they've got, but yeah, Nate Knight was just a squeeze for them. But man, this guy is a bully to the cup. 6'8", can put the ball on the floor, strong upper body, uh, a great finisher at the hoop. Look at him roll there. Um, no, that was the other player. Yeah, he's able to finish on the break. Yeah, put the ball on the floor. Now defensively, uh, he's not. That's not his huge strength, but he can block shots. I would say he's a better defender than Obi is at this stage. Um, is he ready to play backup minutes from day one? I've seen no reason to suggest that he's not. Um, he can come in and produce. Now he's on the two-way, which is great. So if we don't need him on certain nights, he could still be playing for Westchester and still be getting reps. Same with Dylan. And I think these guys are going to wreak havoc in Westchester. Imagine, being a G League player going up against a G League team with Deuce McBride, um, possibly Deuce McBride, Nathan Knight, Dylan Windler. We'll see if Trevor Keels gets with Westchester as well. Um, but yeah, in terms of what Leon's found and with the front office team scouring the league with these two ways, we've noticed a trend. And I think that trend is people coming in here that are ready to contribute and help us out. And we talked about it last show, but like Ron and some other people in the comments section were saying the same thing. Windler and Knight come in with more ready to produce experience, and I think it's going to help us a lot if a consolidation trade comes, or if there's an injury, these guys can step in. Salute J Dub. Nate Knight has that motor and is aggressive. Yeah, got that dog in him, which we love to see. He's going to be a fan favorite, I feel like, too. Look at him run the floor as a power forward. He's a smaller kind of power forward, but with strength. Windler can really shoot and rebound and score. Yeah, when healthy. Um, it's kind of that double-edged sword where it's like you want him to be healthy, but if he was healthy, Cleveland wouldn't have let him go. So it's like hopefully the luck changes for Dylan now and for us, and that this first round draft pick lives up to being a first round draft pick now. He's only 26 still. Now, the Knicks are so stacked, we're not even going to be relying on a Dylan Windler night in, night out. It's going to be a case of, consolidation later. We might need him or, an injury. But, to have these guys on the fringe, on the edges to step in if we need, looks like, these have been the best two-way pickups for a minute. Now, given their pedigrees and given what their skill set can provide us, man. Best says we need a Rocco Otto kind of Jeff Green type, veteran small forward, power forward that can play some D and shoot. Yeah, I could see that as maybe that final move. That's not a major move, but can round out the roster 100%. I really feel like the Daquan Jeffries, Isaiah Roby spots would either, they'd be okay keeping those dudes, but also, like I said, wait for another guy to get cut who's better, basically, addition over those guys. But versatility is big. Dylan Windler is a sharpshooter, and Nate Knight is a power forward that can stretch it, like he does there. Has that skill set. He can really shoot it. Yep. These guys are, yep. more on the timeline. Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, ready made. Not 2 years away from being 2 years away, like Jalen Martin is at the moment. Salute Ricardo. Yeah, Nate Knight can jump out the gym. Yeah, he was. What I like at these two guys, they were quite unheralded coming in too, so I think they do got their chip on their shoulders as well. They got that chip. I do think maybe the Evan Fournier trade will net us possible another need, but I don't know what they're doing with. There's some decent dudes available. Trendon Watford is still waiting. I think a lot of these solid players are waiting for more money. They're waiting for the Dame situation and also Harden to see if there's more money out there. But once that money dries up, maybe a Trendon Watford chooses the Knicks. Maybe a Kelly Oubre. Crazy things can happen. Maybe Kelly Oubre ends up taking the minimum biannual exception. Imagine that. But yeah, it'd be a minutes crunch for real. Like I said, in this rotation we talked about at the beginning of the show, guys are already gonna have a minutes reduction if it's a 9-man rotation on screen. Dante DiVincenzo, I can't find any more than 20 minutes for him without sacrificing someone else's minutes. He was playing 26 with Golden State. Josh Hart finished the season playing more than 24 minutes. Even with the backup power forward minutes, I don't see how Josh Hart can get any more. It really feels like a consolidation trade is coming. It really is, but that's how it looks right now with 9 men. Yeah, Windler is unselfish, can pass like Joe Ingles, can shoot like Joe Ingles. Yeah, and has that game. Yeah, yeah. Ragu might be playing some backup one as well. Yeah, I'm looking at lineups, fam, where it could be Brunson, also with Quickly, with DiVincenzo, and either Barrett or Randall. Barrett and then Randall, maybe with Mitch out. If he wants to play lineups with Randall at the 5, that's our 5 out look. Yeah, Brunson, Quick, DiVincenzo, Barrett, and Randall at the 5. Maybe that's a playoff lineup where it's 5 out. Finally, we have 5 men who can all shoot from deep. Or if you want to obviously put in Quentin Grimes, I'm missing out on Grimes. It could be Brunson, Grimes, DiVincenzo, Barrett, Randall. But I could definitely see Josh Hart closing games out. I think that's Tibbs's guy for real. We'll get the Altman soundbite on screen again. Just for anyone that didn't hear it.
Dylan is, if you had to check a bunch of boxes that fit Coach Beilein's system, he fits them all, but he's tall and he also rebounds. He can make plays off the bounce. He's a lefty, so it sort of gives you an unorthodox look. And he truly succeeds with great shooters. And so when we're sitting at 26, like, who's the best shooter in the draft? He rebounds it incredibly well. There was a game I was at that he had 20 rebounds. And he's ambidextrous. I don't know if you saw the golf swings that he can. He's like a scratch golfer too. So he's multi-dimensional, multi-talented. But he's not just a shooter, to your point. And so I think for us and moving forward, everything we're looking for, dribble, drive, pass, and shoot. Dribble, drive, pass, and shoot, and then you fit into and add basketball IQ to that. You fit into Coach's system. So that's what we're sort of looking and identifying. He's tall, intellectual. He's good. He also came in to visit, and so we got to see a lot of different things from him. Coach got to sit down with him and watch film with him. Really, really fortunate that Coach Beilein's been a part of our draft process. Been at every single workout. He loves it. He said this is so much better than making recruiting phone calls because you actually get to make the pick. So, again, like having him drive this home for us and give us a lens, and it's great when I can look over and say, what do you think of him? He'd be great. And so we know Coach Beilein believes in these kids. Makes it a lot easier decision.
Yeah, it was great to hear his perspective. You know why they took the man, and I think yeah, he's going to impress. He's going to show what he can do with us. It's just crazy to think we have him on a two-way. Really, he's a guy that's NBA. Would easily take up an NBA roster spot as well. He's 26, experienced. Uh, but the sharpshooting ability is something that's salivating. Shot 40%, over 40% with college. However, in the league, um, hasn't been able to translate because of the injuries, I think. But a dude that can move around and also put the ball on the floor. He's not just like a Kyle Korver in terms of has to shoot it. He can put the ball on the floor. Speaking of putting the ball on the floor, Nate Knight, his ability to run the break is something that could help us in the absence of Obi. Defensively, more sound. Also, coming in from Syracuse, he's got that physicality. He's a dog. He competes, can shoot the ball, and I really feel like we've got enough at this stage. Like, a veteran like a Jermichael Green, Derek Jones would be solid. Kelly Oubre, Trendon Watford. I would prefer those guys just because they're more proven. But I'm okay with what we've got. And also the Fournier deal. If that gets us a Doug McDermott, I could see a world where Doug McDermott, being 6'10", ends up being a small ball four as well, which is kind of different. But I'm all for the offense, stretching the defense out in terms of what he can do. But talking about the power rankings, we graded the off season as of July 27. I got the Knicks third in the East in power rankings at the minute. The Dame time trade, we wait to see what happens and what that looks like. That can elevate the Heat up to third. But I still think nothing's really changed in terms of the Knicks are in the final four of the East on paper. I don't see a world where Philly come out of that Harden trade stronger. If Harden is dealt to the Clippers, talks are they're going to get back Norman Powell. Mook Morris is expiring salary. A first-round draft pick. And another piece, I can't remember, a Trey Mann. I think they're trying to keep Trey Mann out of that deal. But I mean, that's poverty, basically. I know Harden's older, but that's not going to please Joel Embiid if we're keeping it a buck, right? Joel Embiid's not going to be happy hearing about Norm Powell, Trey Mann, Mook Morris. Is that moving the needle for Philadelphia? So I've got Philadelphia right now in a world of trouble. In a world of trouble. Could it be coming sooner than we think in terms of what Joel Embiid wants to do? It might be fruitful for the Philadelphia 76ers to keep James Harden one more year and just try to make one more run at it. They might just say to him, look, we're not going to acquiesce. We're going to do one more run it back, and then you're free to go to the Clippers or wherever you want to go. But if they trade Harden for pennies, it's going to upset two things. It's going to upset Joel, and it's also not going to help them contend. Joel will be one more year older, so maybe that's the catalyst to strip it down. Maybe that's the catalyst to then pick up the phone and just do a fire sale. Try to get 7 first-round picks for both of them, and pick swaps and young players, and just hit the reset with Tyrese Maxey. That's something to look out for as well. Yeah, I really just don't see a world where Philly come out of this stronger. I just don't. Now, yeah, Cleveland, Indy, they're going to be on the margins. We'll see. Dirty Dancer mentioned I brought up Brooklyn. To be honest, I really did overlook Brooklyn a little bit doing this. But yeah, this is a July 27. I'll do another revision for the next edition of the Power Rankings coming up once some extra moves have been made. Brooklyn's still in flux a little. They're maybe going to be a beneficiary of getting Tyler Hero in that 3-team deal. Anthony said Knicks need to trade Randall for Patty Mills. Man, salute. I appreciate your love for Patty Mills. I love Patty Mills on the team, but I don't see it happening for Julius for the salary to work. But Patty Mills is on a $6 million expiring deal. I was thinking of him for an Evan Fournier. You know, a veteran in the locker room. He can shoot still. He's not gonna worry about not getting minutes. If we could make a move where we're losing Fournier, getting maybe another piece and Patty Mills and an expiring. Patty Mills is expiring with maybe a draft pick. I'd be okay for that. Windler of Duncan Robinson type. Yep, I could see that. Better defense. I think better defense than Duncan. Ability to put the ball on the floor. Shah says there'll be that battle for that second unit 4 spot. Knight, Roby, Sims. One will jump up and grab it. If the Knicks haven't made another move coming up. But I do think it's very likely that something's going to happen. Some extra moves on the margins coming up. Consolidation. We still got Emmanuel Quickly's extension to get done before the season. Josh Hart's extension. And possibly the Evan Fournier trade. That will change my grade. But so far I got a B-. The Knicks hit the bullseye with Dante. Failed with an Obi Toppin transaction. And did solid with the latest two-way additions for this team and fitting in with our skill sets. But yeah, all eyes are on Cleveland, Philly, Miami, Portland. This offseason is going to go slow from now, but the consistency of the New York Knicks, right? Everyone knows their role coming in, and the minutes is going to be something that we've got to look out for. The minutes distribution, right? I like the fact that we can get Brunson down to 35, Randall down to 35. We could theoretically we could deal with a short-term injury quite comfortably with, if let's say if it's Grimes or Barrett, one of these smaller wings goes down. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, the Knicks have enough. Knicks have enough of these short wings shooting coming in. But yeah, the backup point guard situation is going to be interesting. Does Quickly, after getting extended, does his production as a filling in as a point guard go up? Every year in the league, Emmanuel Quickly's gotten stronger and stronger. So shout out to him and what he does. The work ethic he provides. Now, Evan Fournier in the FIBA competition, he's only 30 years old. I looked it up. I kind of was so surprised. I felt like Evan Fournier kind of like was 32, 33. He just strikes me as I thought he was an older player, but he's only 30. So I really could see why Evan Fournier is so frustrated. Him feeling like he's in his prime. I don't think it changes anything. He doesn't move well. He's not a defender. He's not strong for the wing spot. But for an 11, 12 minute a night role as a sharpshooter in the league, ability to help the bench lineups for other teams. Yeah, Evan Fournier still could be a valuable piece for some teams. Like I never felt, just because he wasn't helpful for us, I never felt that Fournier couldn't help another team. He's only 30, but let's hope another team feels the same. Let's hope he plays well in FIBA and get this trade machine working and help us get another piece, or at the very least expiring salary back as well. Peace, Allah wise in the chat. Salute. How we feeling? Yeah, Fournier's feet stuck in mud a little bit. Yeah, I really feel like if he was kept situational and he played every now and then, like I said, 6 minutes one night, 11 minutes another night, maybe played a little in the playoffs against the Heat, I feel like he wouldn't have been as frustrated. But yeah, just like the Obi situation, not all pieces of the puzzle fit, and I think it suits both sides to get it done, and I think it's going to get done. I think the Knicks are talking to teams. The Spurs have lukewarm interest in Fournier. There's been no reports about what has been offered or what's been discussed, except the fact that they would see a benefit of having Fournier on the Spurs together with Vic, and helping him out in his rookie year. Let's hope something happens. The Doug McDermott makes sense because, again, expiring money. Like I said, it's not something we really need to benefit from in terms of an asset coming back. We just have to make sure Fournier is not on the team and it doesn't hurt us, in terms of attaching an asset to get rid of him. We just need to make sure we get expiring salary or a player that might help us in the rotation. Like I said, Patty Mills is another $6 million expiring. Maybe we could get him in and get a $6 million trade exception or something else. Yeah, the number of his salary, you hit it, fam. Teams may want Fournier as an end of the bench dude skill set, but the $18 million makes it tricky to line it up and get something popping. But yeah, the shooting in the playoffs, I think I could see a world where Fournier is like on Orlando again, or Detroit, on a team with young players. I could also see the Heat if they lose Gabe Vincent, they lose Max Strauss. If they have some salary cap open up, I could see the Heat trying to make use of a Fournier. But yeah, it was a failed signing. 18 million for 4 years. Thankfully, the fourth year was a team option. I think when the contract was first announced, fans were very distressed after hearing the number of the 4-year deal. But when we found out that the fourth year was a team option, I think fans, grew to accept it a little more. But Fournier just hasn't panned out. Had one great season, his first season. But unfortunately, it was a season we didn't make the playoffs. So yeah, he wasn't really a benefit to the team. So yeah, we move forward with this situation. I really like our rotation. I think consistency is going to be what's really good for this team. It's not what people are talking about in terms of it being sexy or respected around the league in terms of media, national media people that don't watch the Knicks a lot. But we addressed a need from the playoffs, which was Dante DiVincenzo, the shooting. Does he move the needle forward much? I don't feel like he does. He helps us, but he's not going to get us to contention. So we still have some roster moves. We still have work to do. Yeah, but for now, we've been in worse situations, fam. It's time to get used to us competing at least for a top 4 spot every year. until we make that all-in move, you know, when the time comes, you know, we might just be getting closer with Joel and the East being shooken up. Philly, Daryl Morey going to get shook with that. The East is getting better, no doubt, but I don't think this year is going to be the year any of these teams really overtake the Knicks. I could see Cleveland backing up a really good regular season. They added Strauss and they added Georges Niang, and of course they bring everyone back. But Evan Mobley is a big X factor. But I think the Knicks. The same could be said for the Knicks in terms of we bring Josh Hart in for a full season, and we bring in DiVincenzo's shooting. Right, so there we have it for this night, for this conversation. It's been great chopping it up with the best chat in the biz, the best fan base in the streets. Look out for another show later in the week. Also next week, lining up a few guests to come talk to us about the landscape of the NBA and the Knicks situation coming up. But hey, hold on tight, ladies and gentlemen, because there's more things in the pipe. There's things coming for the Knicks. But be patient also, because look, we have these assets, but these other GMs are trying to fleece the New York Knicks. So we're not in the business of getting fleeced anymore. You know, we're operating from a position where, you know, we can still compete for a top 4 spot. So we're not trying to force it at the minute yet. But it was good to chop up the East power rankings, the rotation minutes, grading the off-season moves so far. I love the new recent addition, the pickups. I think they could be beneficial throughout the season. And I look forward to seeing them in action coming forward. But salute to everyone in the chat, replay gang, the streets are buzzing. Smash that like button. Appreciate you coming through. And the chat, your comments, replay gang. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts. And I will see you later in the week. Peace. Have a great night.